Hi, I'm Crystal Newman, back to talk more about preventing violence against children. Now, on this show, we aim to be thought-provoking. You never know, you might just learn something new. We share some powerful, real-life stories with you, and we talk to experts for their views on violence against children. Today, we look at the issue of economic violence. It may sound confusing, but it is something that happens every day, all around us, in schools and at home. It might be done by you, the parent. So let's find out more about this on the show.
This is the story of Lindo, a vibrant 16-year-old girl, and her little sister, Lulu. They live in Jinja. Here, she narrates her story to her best friend, Jeanette. "What happened to you?" Jeanette asked. "My father died when I was 12. I lived with my mother and her new husband. We needed money, so I went to work. We were very poor, and I did not see even a way of getting out. And so I started working at the age of 14. I set out to work with my little sister, Lulu, who was then 10. She's now 15 years old, as I tell you. My mother's husband works no more," Lindo said. And her friend Jeanette looked on, puzzled. Lulu started working as a domestic servant, a house girl in Jinja. She was given little food, little free time, and no medical assistance. She was told repeatedly that she could not drop working until she had earned enough money to pay for the money that had been given to her mother to take care of them. She was never told how much she would be paid. She only worked and worked and worked, but looked toward a distant horizon for the hope that would come. And Jeanette listened on. "But child labor is against the law of the land," Jeanette said. And Lindo insisted, "No, child labor is the only source of income for a poor family like ours. Our work was considered reasonable because it was the only way we could sustain ourselves. Our mother was very poor and had no job. And because of the level of hardship our mother was facing, we were forced to work. There was no other way we could be sent to school," Lindo said. And Lindo continued, "A family like ours is poor and needs money to survive. My mother was a housewife and had no skills. Our mother was very poor with no job. And because of the level of the suffering that she was enduring and facing, we were forced to go out there and work for no money. There was no other way we could go about life. When our father died, our mother could not cope. She saw getting married again was no solution, was the only solution she had. She considered us, the children, working as the only solution to fend for our food. My mother thought that by sending us to work, it would help get us the income to support our family." And Jeanette asked her, "How was it for you and Lulu?" "It was very painful," Lindo said. "Indeed, every time Lulu or myself made a mistake in our work, we were fined and our money was decreased. Once when Lulu was blamed for doing sloppy work, she was beaten by her employer. And once after a particular painful beating, she tried to run away. only to be apprehended by the local council, who forced her to return to her work and employer. It was hard. We were deprived of our childhood and dignity. We worked long hours for low or no pay, under conditions that were harmful to our health, physical and mental development. We were deprived of education. We were denied the right to be normal. We were separated from our parents. We did not have any contact with her. We were at the mercy of our employer. Lulu was particularly denied her freedom of movement. She was restricted only to the master's home. She had no rights to leave her workplace and join her family. It was painful for Lindo. And then the probing reversed, and Lindo became the interviewer as Jen listened on. By the way, Jeanette, let me ask, what is this child labor? Child labor is defined as economic exploitation of children. It is the act of making children perform work that is likely to endanger or hinder their education, be harmful to their health, and eventually their life. Answered Jeanette. You say child labor is a criminal offense? But why does it continue then? And what can be done to eradicate it? Asked Lindo inquisitively. You see, Jeanette told her, for child labor to be eradicated, certain things have to happen. Firstly, the government should ensure that the needs of the poor are addressed. If poverty is tackled, the need for child labor will definitely reduce. No matter how hard society will try, child labor will always exist until the need for it is removed. But do you think the development of children is held back by this child labor? Lindo asked. Oh yes, children are growing up in illiteracy because they have been working all their life and not attended school. And the vicious cycle of poverty is formed as the need for child labor is reborn after every generation. Jeanette assured her friend. Linda wanted to ask Jeanette how the situation could be improved so that children would no longer go through what she and Lulu were going through. And Jeanette answered, you see, there is need for the government to improve the delivery of education and health care in general. This will help child laborers because if children are healthy and well educated, they will grow up to help society, which will later become a better place for all. Hence, making education compulsory and free will give parents and no other option but to send their children to school instead of engaging them in economic activities for selfish benefit. And then, what do you think is the role of society to put an end to this thing called child labor? Lindo asked. And Jeanette continued, our society should shun child labor as unacceptable for its negative impact on children. It should be discouraged and condemned because it leads to children losing their educational opportunities. Employers should not use children for labor because it is socially unacceptable, Jeanette said. Thank you for your audience, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm with Mariam Nakiyingi, a teacher at Mulago Secondary School and a resource person with the Good Schools program. How are you?
I'm fine, Crystal. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Now we're going to talk about economic violence.
Yeah.
Now for some people that is very confusing.
Yeah.
They're like, economic violence? What does that mean?
If I may refer to economic violence, It could be a situation where children are exploited for the benefit of maybe the people who are over them, people who have authority over them. Mm-hmm. They could be their parents, they could be their guardians, they could be their teachers at school, their head teachers, or any other person within the community. And this can involve making them do hard labor, and this labor could not be proportional to their age and size, maybe their energy. It's too much for them. And at the end of the day, these children don't have a share of the benefits of the work they did. It could be fetching water, yet someone else could be hired to fetch water, maybe for the school, for the home. It could be digging in the school gardens. I think we've heard about that. We who attended rural schools, we know it. Yes. We always did labor in the gardens. And worst of all, what makes it hurting is you don't enjoy the fruits of your labor. The moment the potatoes are harvested, it's only the teachers who eat. The moment the bananas are harvested or beans, it's shared up by the teachers and their children. And imagine, they are the children who paid off their labor. And at the end of the day, these children are sent to school by their parents to have lessons. Then, why do they dare send them into the gardens? It's really hurting, and that's a sign of economic violence. And in most cases today, for example, in the primary schools, secondary schools, especially the boarding schools, these children, their parents pay a lot of money. But in most cases, they don't earn services that are value for their money. That is economic violence.
So the schools use the children
to pay for the services instead, yet they have already paid for them. For example, they have paid lots of money to have lunch. That is good. But when you analyze the students' meals, they are too little for them. They are not satisfied. Bins are filled with the weevils. And it's not surprising that some of these students are striking because of that. They are not satisfied with the services they are being offered by the teachers. That is economic violence.
I've heard of a case where a school was actually using students to build the new classroom blocks.
Yes. They offer labor, make bricks, imagine, fetch water, sand. Okay? And at the end of the day, the children of the proprietors of the schools are the ones who are the net beneficiaries. And the pupils themselves are just sent away for fees. That is economic violence, my dear.
Yes, and you go to school to learn.
You go to school to learn, not to put up people's structures for the net benefit in future. So it's really, really hurting. And the moment we interact with these pupils, they are always feeling hurt. You get a child coming to school, minus school requirements, a ruler, a pen, a pencil. Sometimes the uniforms are very dirty, no polish, okay? And for teachers who are on ground, they just start caning, beating, in the name of disciplining. But these teachers have not bothered to exploit more. What causes this? Maybe the parents are not responsible, and they're highly responsible for this, because it's the parent who is supposed to buy polish, not the child. It's the parent who is supposed to buy the books and the rulers and the pencils. But what to do? The parents are really ignoring their responsibilities. And worst of all, they have forced these children to do labor outside school at their own benefit, not the benefit of the children. Every other day, the girl is rushing out of school to go to look for banana peelings to feed the cattle. Whose cattle is it?
Family.
Heavy domestic work after classes. And at the end, you find this girl has not done homework.
And she's tired.
She's tired, dozing. And for a teacher, tomorrow, the following day, will just be beating. Without even asking, why didn't this girl do homework?
Why are you sleeping in my class?
Why are you sleeping in my class? This girl is sleeping because she did not have lunch. Can you imagine? These parents send their children without lunch. And a child below 18 spends a full day minus putting anything in the stomach.
They arrive at 7:30 in the morning, they leave at 5, 6 in the evening.
And the moment you call them, they are not concerned. After all, UPE was put in by the president and the government. Let it even provide lunch. It should provide the books. After classes, these are the young children you'll see hawking maize. Boiled. Sometimes they roast. You find them selling molokoni. Do you know molokoni? The feet of the cattle that are boiled selling it toninyira,
Banana.
evening foods. Eh? Are you aware that some of our girls are forced into bars? And who earns? Are they themselves who earn? The parents. Some of our children are real sexual workers. And they have to report every other day everything they have earned from this work.
You're saying that parents actually tell their children to go and be prostitutes?
Sometimes, for some parents, they do that. After all, these children are the ones who eat the money, therefore they should go and work for it. You go and sell molokoni and get something you'll eat the following day. And before you eat, you have to provide something to the parent.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for being a part of the show. You're very passionate about it, so I can see. And I think you've opened our eyes.
Okay.
And you're right. No child asks to be born. So we have to give them what they need.
Yes, it's your responsibility. The moment you say I'm producing, you must fulfill all the responsibilities of parenthood. These other people who come in and just helping you to make your child grow up decently. But it's the sole responsibility of the parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming on this show.
Yeah.
We have talked about economic violence, and now you know what it is. The sad truth is so many children around us are experiencing it, and you see these children every day. You go to a shop and you find a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old behind the counter, selling for their parents or their guardians. Can they really be able to calculate how much change they're supposed to give you? You go to a bar and a child approaches you to sell you maize. You're at the traffic lights and a child wants to sell you bananas because they're trying to raise school fees. These are the issues. As parents and guardians, yes, we want our children to learn the value of hard work, but at what cost? Make sure it is proportional to the child's age. Make sure that it doesn't affect their learning ability. And remember that it is also a right for children to be able to play. It shouldn't just be school, then work, then sleep and homework. They have a right to play so that they can learn to be creative. We need to make sure that every child enjoys a violence-free childhood. Everyone enjoys a violence-free childhood. Thank you for joining us on the show today. Till next time, I'm Crystal Newman. Bye-bye.